Aaron, after all the effort you made last year to try to get back on the field, what was it like for you today to actually be back with your guys?
Well, I was practicing last year, so it didn't feel as significant. The expectations were, there wasn't. I had to fulfill some sort of expectation. I just felt like I was able to practice last year, the last 3 weeks. This was, a continuation of the off-season work and the OTAs, and yeah, it felt good to be out there. It's a very limited install one when you only have a 90-minute practice. So I felt like, we did the same things we did in OTAs. We added to it. The offense obviously looks a little bit different, I would say, especially pre-snap, and I like what we did.
Aaron, what is it like building chemistry with this offense when you didn't have the full season last year?
Yeah, we had training camp, and then we had obviously the 10 OTAs this year. That's what training camp's all about trying to find ways to get on the same page. I felt like the work that was done between Hackett and the staff and Coach Sala in the offseason, the offense was really good. I feel like we have some nice wrinkles that we added. Now we just got to put them all together, find a way to come together, and stay healthy. I like the vibe of the team is different this year. Obviously last year there was a lot of hype around me and Hard Knocks. This year some of that stuff settled down. I feel like we're a little bit more settled in. We're definitely a little more mature up front with the two older guys we got at tackle who can still really play, bringing in John Simpson. Another year for Tip, AVT coming back healthy, and now you look at behind those guys, you got a lot of guys who played a lot of football now, so the depth we have in offensive line is pretty good. Feel really good about that. Obviously drafted a couple backs. Mike Williams, who looks to be ahead of schedule, I think, on his rehab. So we need to get him out there. But I thought Allen made a couple nice catches today, and we're looking for some growth from Gibson and Brownlee and Malik and some of our younger guys who are second year in the system.
Can you say physically that you're back to where you were pre-injury, or is there just going to be some time that it will take, through repetition to get back to where you were?
Yeah, Rich, I think it's going to take a little time. I feel great. The numbers, we track all the numbers out west where I work out and have for a decade. And, my movement stuff was tracking the exact same as last year. Actually a little bit stronger with some of the squatting stuff that we did. But I just need the reps. The last 5% of being 100% is just the mental part. So the more, like today, the last play I had, being able to move in the pocket quickly and not think about it, those are like stacked reps that help you get to those last 5% of feeling 100%.
We spoke to a few of the players, and they talked about how you set the standard, like, for the franchise and everybody else, the tone. Just talk about the importance of that and why is that important to you?
Well, first, I think it's important that you have to bring the energy, the enthusiasm every single day. I think you have to set the standard by the way you show up every day. You got to be active in meetings. You got to be attentive. You got to be tapped into the energy of the team. The goal is New Orleans, and so that's got to be the focus. Got to be the manifestation through our words and our actions, and everything needs to be intentional that we do on the field, in the meeting rooms. So just try not to waste any moments. There's a lot of room for fun and hanging with the guys and joking and stuff, and time at the at the hotel. But when we're practicing, when we're in drill work, it needs to be intentional. And I think you got to set that standard. You got to hold guys accountable. There's a ton of opportunities, though. It's not just me. It can't just be me. It's got to be other guys stepping up into a leadership role. I look to guys like Garrett, in his third season, Breece in his third season, Sauce in his third season. Those are three of the top players on our team. I look to them to step up their leadership. I look to guys like Conk, who's coming off a nice season, to step into that. I look to guys like Tyron and Moses to step in and lead those guys up front. I want to empower Tipman. I think Tip has a chance to take it over. Corey Lindsley was a center for us for a long time, and even in 2014, his rookie year, with a veteran line that was probably our best line over the years we had, he stepped in and got those guys going, and they listened to him. And I think Tip can do that. So we got to empower the leadership A lot of that's just listening. Sometimes you got to defer. Just because you're the quarterback or the assigned leader, the voted leader, sometimes you got to step aside and let somebody else have a time to stand up and say something in front of the team, or to break it down in practice, or to get on somebody. And I think that's what you're looking for as these practices progresses. Who's kind of stepping into that role to be the guy who can back you up and take that leadership mantle.
You mentioned that Garrett, he was talking to us yesterday. He said to prepare for the season, he went back and watched old tape of you and how defenses attacked you. I don't know, were you aware of that? Are you part of his process? And what does it say about him that he's gone to that extent to research?
Well, the best players are self-motivated, and he's definitely that. Again, I think it's important for him to step into a greater leadership role. The way you cement that is by your work on the field. And I told him in the meeting yesterday, I think he has the talent, the ability to be the best receiver in the league. I'm biased. I think 17 in Las Vegas has been that for the last 5 or 6 years. He didn't get that by just showing up. He got that by the way he worked. I mean, his level of excellence and his attention to detail in my time in Green Bay was second to none. He just practiced like that all the time. He had a mindset when he stepped on the field of dominating. And that carried over into the games where we used to talk. When we're driving to Lambeau Field on the day of the game, it wasn't, are we going to win today? It's how bad are we going to dominate? And I think he has the ability and the confidence and the skill set to have that mindset, but it starts with the way he practices. So he's an animated guy. He's passionate. And I think if he can take that leap, and it's actually not a leap, it's kind of just a little jump, he has a chance to be really, really special.
You were pretty confident last year that you guys were one of the 6 to 8 teams. And
did I say 6 to 8 last year? I expanded it.
This year's 8 to 12.
What did I say? Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Parity, that's what the NFL wants. They want parity, yeah.
You think the roster's even better this year? You think
I think so,
the
yeah.
chances are even better? And do you think maybe what you guys went through last year, Robert talked about everybody being more locked in this year. Do you think you see that?
Well, it's day one, so day two, I guess. So, but I think we're locked in. I think we're better up front. So, on the offensive side, there's the experience. There's Tippy in his second year. Obviously, if Elijah stays healthy, he's a premier guard in the NFL. So I think we're better up front. And across the board on offense, I think we have that year of experience. Defensively, we're always going to be good. We have depth. Our D-line, we can just roll people up front. You look at some of the guys we got now. I mean, Kinlaw is a creature. I mean, he's a beast, man. I haven't seen a guy like that too many times in the league. And there's a lot of those guys. The guys that we got returning. Quentin Williams is one of the top players. His position, our inside backers, I put up against anybody. Our first 3 corners, the outside guys and our nickel are as good as anybody in the league. The back end, Chuck and Tony, are an incredible tandem. So that side of the ball is going to be really solid. And offensively, it's us to prove that we can be a top 10 offense.
Thanks, everybody. You were coaching.
Nice one. You got in.
You were coaching up number 17, the rookie.
Malachi,
practice.
Yeah.
And then you also did the same thing with Garrett. What were you saying to each of them?
Garrett has a different skill set than I'm used to. He's so dynamic with his moves. Sometimes he doesn't need to do all that. So sometimes he can just speed cut out of something. And so we're just talking through. I'm going to watch the film, but it was basically like, what did you see? How come he did this? What do you think about speed cutting maybe? And then let's watch the film and talk about it. With Malachi, he's a great kid. He really is. He cares about it. He wants to be great. It's just a little reminder when we're running a certain route in the 3x1 and he has a vertical. If he has inside leverage already, he can just push straight up and the ball's going to be on him. So it's like a reminder. I might not have been in on the play, but I'm watching the play. And if we run the exact same play and you're in there, this is what I need from you. So it's just get on the same page as those guys. I think that's an important part of being a professional is if you're not in, you're still taking a mental rep. And as a quarterback, if I'm not taking that rep, I still got to let these guys know if I was in there, this may have happened. Not that Ty didn't do something right or something. Ty's, he's a phenomenal player. But if there was a situation where you could have gotten the ball, his angle was way too flat. You got to be vertical and expecting the ball on your back shoulder. So I'm just going to stay on those guys and coach them up as much as I can. And they got a great coach, though. I love having SJ here, love having Tony Deuce here, and excited about the season.